Don't have a very long video today, but it is an important one because it's the start of my journey. If you didn't catch the trailer that I put out last week, what I'm gonna do is over the next year, I'm going to see how far my habit-powered weight loss program can take me from a performance standpoint. I chose to do this because it's gonna give me a quantifiable measure of just how effective my habit-powered weight loss program can be. So I'm not necessarily trying to lose weight, but the program at its core is a process, and to do anything in life that's challenging or hard, you gotta have some sort of process. And I chose 4 different events to measure myself in. I chose pull-ups to measure strength. I chose vertical leap to measure explosiveness, 40-yard dash for speed, and mile run for endurance. And the big reason that I'm doing all this in the first place is because I feel like people have this really skewed idea of what you need to do to lose weight, get in shape, or really do anything else that's big and takes a long time. You know, the marketing and, you know, all these pump up motivational people, they make it seem like it's all about like, oh yeah, you gotta want to do it so bad, and you know, you're always gonna feel great about it. And I don't think that's the reality at all. I think, you know, a lot of people that do successful things and, you know, make big improvements, they don't feel great 100% of the time. You know, sometimes they might feel pretty good about what they're doing, but you know, they're doing what they need to do regardless of how they feel. And the best way to do that is by setting up great habits and doing the, you know, the nitty-gritty, like, you know, finding time in your schedule, planning, all that kind of stuff. So it's not as sexy, that's for sure, but that's the reality of it, and that's how you really get things done. So I went out and I got my baseline numbers for all 4 events that I mentioned earlier, and I'm just gonna go through those. I'm gonna show my testing, and we'll go from there. So the first thing I did was pull-ups, and a little history on pull-ups. For me, I did pull-ups a lot, and then I broke my shoulder about a year ago, so I didn't do really any sort of upper body exercise at all for about 8 months. I'm just going from a hang. I'm not doing the crazy CrossFit, you know, gyrating pull-ups where my body's contorting all over the place just to pull my chin above the bar. So I'm locking out my elbows at the bottom and then pulling all the way up. I ended up getting 13 pull-ups, and you know, I'm okay with that. It's pretty average for somebody that works out. Okay, test number 2, the old vertical leap. I was looking at vertical leap testers online. Crazy expensive, so I just got some cardboard and colored paper, and I just did it myself. Just took about an hour, did a little art project, got my measurements all down, and what I'm doing is I'm chalking up my fingers with some sidewalk chalk from my kids, and I'm just seeing where the chalk mark is on the paper, and that's the test. So I basically saved a few $100s by not having to buy some fancy tester. Anyways, here I go with my jumps. I'm gonna take the best out of 3 jumps. Let's climb up the ladder here, see where my chalk marks are. Okay, so 24 inches is my vertical right now. And you know, that's around where I thought it would be, maybe a couple inches lower. The next test is 40-yard dash. This is one that really threw me off. I ran quite a bit slower. I thought I was gonna need a stopwatch. I really probably could have used a calendar. My time was so stinking slow. Again, I took the best of 3 40-yard dashes. I kind of have my little setup up at the park, and people were walking through, but I had to make do. I think next time I test, I'm gonna do it earlier in the morning so there's less people walking through. But my times were quite a bit slower than I thought. And you know, when I got tested about 15, 16 years ago, regularly I would run mid 4.6s, and today it's pretty much a full second slower than my best times that I ran 15, 16 years ago. But I'm not super surprised either, because I haven't really done any sprints per time. So I'm really gonna have to hone down on my starts, and I'm hoping for my own psyche and pride that my times improve quite a bit on 40-yard dash. And finally, my last test for endurance was mile run. The mile run is probably the most in alignment with what I currently do for HIIT training. So my HIIT workouts are about 25 minutes long. A mile obviously is much shorter than that. I ran 6:46, and I realized when I finished up I still had a lot in the tank, so I probably could have at least ran 6:30 or lower. I didn't quite have my pacing down, but you know, that's pretty decent for not really running, just doing the HIIT workouts. But I did have a pretty good conditioning base, and it translated over pretty well to the mile run, and I still should see some pretty good improvement there too, because I'm gonna specifically train to improve my mile time. Every night, what I do is I take my Habit Powered Weight Loss packet, my course packet, and I have a calendar, and I mark off my behaviors that I did every day. I'll get a little bit more into that later on in this series, but I'm using the exact same process that I use with clients for online weight loss coaching, and the exact same process that's in the Habit Powered Weight Loss program. I think there's a lot of room for improvement. I'm really psyched, I'm really pumped. I want to show that habits are definitely the way to achieve what you want to achieve, and that, you know, the motivation and the willpower that you hear so much about, that's a marketing thing. That's not the reality. You're gonna have to develop good habits, and I'm gonna help show you how I'm doing that to improve my performance. So thanks for watching. Episode 2 coming at you next week.